Okay, let's talk about something that I'm pretty sure keeps a lot of us up at night. You hit post on some political take, maybe a joke, or even just a rant about your day, and that little voice in the back of your head pops up. Could this actually get me fired? It's a very real fear in the modern workplace, so let's break it down.
So, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Could it? The short answer is, well, it's really complicated. And for most people, especially in the United States, the answer is probably not what you think. The lines between our personal and professional lives have pretty much dissolved, and that tweet or Facebook post, it lives in a very, very gray area.
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to start by clearing up the single biggest myth out there, the one that almost everyone gets wrong when it comes to free speech.
Look, we all hear about our First Amendment right to free speech, but here is the absolute crucial point that most people miss. It protects you from the government silencing you. It does not protect you from your private employer. For most of us, our jobs are governed by a totally different set of rules.
And that set of rules is called at-will employment. This is the default in most of the US, and it means exactly what it sounds like. Your employer can fire you for pretty much any reason, or no reason at all, as long as it's not illegal discrimination. And yep, that includes not liking a political opinion you shared online. It's a pretty stark legal reality.
But of course, it's never that simple, is it? While at-will is the foundation, the actual rules are a messy, confusing patchwork of exceptions and state-specific laws that change everything.
Okay, so the most important federal exception you need to know about is the National Labor Relations Act, or the NLRA. This is a big one because it actually puts a real limit on an employer's power. And get this, it even applies to non-union workers.
So what does it protect? It all comes down to something called concerted activity. Concerted just means you're acting together with your colleagues, and the activity has to be about your working conditions. So if you and a coworker are posting online about your pay, your crazy hours, or safety issues, that speech is very likely protected. General political commentary, though, not so much.
Let's look at a real-life example, because this makes it super clear. There was this car salesman. His Facebook post complaining about the cheap hot dogs and low commissions at a company event. A court said that was protected speech because it was directly tied to his working conditions. But another post he made just about a goofy car accident at the dealership, that was not protected. You see the difference? It's all about that specific connection to the job itself.
And as if that's not complicated enough, on top of federal law, your rights can change dramatically just by crossing a state line. In a place like California, you have really strong protections for political activity. But in New York, it's much more limited, say to things like campaigning. And then you have a state like Texas, where there are basically no specific state-level laws protecting this at all. It's a true legal patchwork.
You know, when you zoom out and look at the rest of the world, you realize just how much of an outlier the US system really is. In places like France, the UK, or Canada, the burden is way higher on the employer to justify a firing. The level of power US private employers have is almost unique among developed nations. Okay, so if it's often perfectly legal to fire someone for a post, you have to wonder, why don't we see it happen even more? That's because the law is only half the story. The other half is all about risk. And that's the question that keeps executives and HR departments on their toes. Just because you have the legal right to do something, that doesn't always make it a smart business decision.
So what's the risk? Well, it starts with talent. Get this, according to a Career Arc survey, a staggering 75% of job seekers consider a company's brand and reputation before they even bother applying. A messy, public firing over a political post can absolutely poison that brand and scare away the best people.
Yeah, the real dangers for a company, they go way beyond a courtroom. You've got the brand damage we just talked about. Then you've got these intense digital pressure campaigns, where online mobs can literally force the company's hand. And internally, that one online post can spill into the office and create a totally toxic atmosphere, killing morale and teamwork.
So, this brings us to the modern playbook for smart companies. They've realized they've been asking the wrong question. It's not about the content of the post, it's about something else entirely.
And this has led to a major strategic shift. The smartest companies have stopped trying to police content. They're not trying to be the thought police anymore. Instead, they're focused on managing the impact. The real questions become, did this post create a hostile work environment? Did it violate a clear existing policy like one against hate speech? That's the new focus.
So this leads to a pretty clear framework. Step 1, prioritize demonstrable harm. Can you prove it hurt the brand or the culture?
Step 2. Create a very clear, specific policy. You're not banning ideas, you're banning behaviors like harassment. And step 3, and this is the most important one for avoiding lawsuits, enforce that policy consistently, for everyone, no exceptions.
But there's a much bigger societal question looming over all of this. What happens when an entire workforce is afraid to speak their minds? It's called the chilling effect, and it's exactly what it sounds like. When people see others get fired for speaking up, they start to self-censor. They just stay quiet. And inside a company, that can be absolutely devastating for innovation, for honest feedback, and for building a healthy culture.
And this isn't just about current employees anymore. This is now extending to the hiring process. Recruiters are absolutely looking at candidates' social media, and a political post can be treated as a personality trait that outweighs their actual skills. The big risk here is that companies end up hiring only people who think exactly like them, creating these ideological echo chambers and undermining any real effort at diversity.
Ultimately, the old boundaries are just gone. Your digital life and your work life are completely tangled up together now. And this leaves us with a fundamental, massive question for the modern era. In a world that's always online, where does the workplace truly end and the rest of our lives begin? It's a challenge that, frankly, we are all still figuring out.